We finally finished the actions page. So we've been on this page for a good while, and rightly so. There's an absolute ton of UI. So we've had print, custom properties, file info, 4 or 5 more tabs, all different. Next up, we're on to the process tab. So on the left here, you can see what we want it to look like. This is a quick mock-up. And on the right is obviously the current page with nothing in. So let's just take a look at how we're going to do this. This is already created for the backend. So we have hopefully the view model that's ready to go. And we just need to now design the UI fairly quickly. So the first thing I want to look at is what is the closest UI to this mockup. So if we take a look at, I believe it was the print settings page, I believe was quite close. No, not print settings, actions print view maybe. Yeah, so the actions print view I believe is quite close. We have the side menu. We have this list here, which we also need, and we have some data here. So the first thing I think we'll do is just copy this entire actions print view model over to the blank process page. If we go to this process page, let's take a look at the difference between the two. We can do a side by side, hopefully. Hide that out of the way. And if we just move the view model up to the same position so we can kind of see line by line the difference. We have a background specified here that we don't over here. So we'll copy the background over. The foreground wants to be the primary key. So we'll copy that over. Cut that one out. This view model is actually the one that needs to be at the top, not the data type. Got that backwards. So data type wants to come after there. That goes there. Right, that's the same order. The view model's set up correctly already, and the view is set up correctly. So that is the header stuff done, and we're all identical. Now we want to go into here. So I think for now, we're just going to copy everything from inside, because we basically want to start with exactly the same, and then we'll work through and change the differences. So we can close that one down, start taking a look here. So the first one is the data view model. We don't want it to be the actions page view model. We want it to be the processes page view model. And then we won't open the designer yet until we've made this actually build, because we're going to have errors. So let's just step through this, and we'll have to read the XAML for visual. What we could do is open the actions print view and have that designer open and tab between to see what we're looking at visually. We also have this, which shows us the thing we're after. So we want processes and then a list of processes. So I can copy this text, and we want the print actions here to say processes. And then we want the text here to now say our text. And then if we go back, the new print action will have to keep that button. Even though it isn't in this designer, we will need a new processes button. So we'll change the new print action to new process. The command, this is where we'll find out the view model already isn't correct. I'm guessing we don't have a command to do that. So again, we can take a look at this one and look at, I believe the actions on this are actually in the action page view model, and it is add new print item command. So it will be add new print item. So we have this command here to do something. So obviously that is going to be completely different in how we do, but let's just take a look at the process view model. In fact, let's just copy and paste the whole thing. Process view model. And I'm guessing we don't have the action to do it, and we don't. So there's the first thing we need to go back to. I was trying to do it so that the entire view model was made before we did this, but obviously we forgot almost straight away something. So we now need add new process. And this will then be add new process command, which can be here. And now if we go back, this is where we'll need a database service. So again, lots of copying and pasting from existing ones. If we scrolled up to the top, you can see we pass in the database service and the constructor. So if that's something that we can do in ours, we have a constructor. No, we don't have a constructor at all, so we can pass it in right here. So in this case, there's printer settings. We don't need those. Next is a new item. This is action print view model. So this one we want to be process view model. Will it be this view model? No, it won't be. It's going to be whatever the actions are here. So it's going to be an action view model. No, it isn't. It is going to be a process view model because we have the description, the job name. So we might need a parent because this view model is in itself going to be the item we want. So let's see how this plays out. This will want to be a new process view model, and the database service can be this database service. I kind of don't like the fact that we're having to do newing up of the same class, but it might be perfectly fine. New ID, new item, and this can be new process. And then the description can just be new process description. Or in fact, let's leave description blank. And that's it for it. And then now the problem is here, this add new item and selected, we don't have. So we do actually need a top level process view, which we actually have. So what we need is a process item view model. So let's just copy and paste the process view, process item view model. Now what the item will want to be is we won't need the database service. This will be process item view model. This is where it wants the ID, the description, the job name, and the actions page view model is more similar to what we are actually achieving here. So you see in here, there's no like ID and things. This isn't committed. This view model never gets kind of converted or committed. So this one wants the ID, description, job name, has changed, is new item, and actions. So all we need to do is delete that method we were doing. The convert is already correct. The extension can now be process item view model extensions. And is this process item view model? There we go. So that's all the same now. So we practically could have just renamed the other class, but now this process view doesn't need the ID, description, job name, changed as new, or actions. But instead of actions, we now need what we're after, which is this like print list here. We'll want a process list. So if we do a process list, there'll be a collection. It will be an observable collection of process item view models. And then we have the selected print list item. So if we looked at the selected print list item here, we can just make sure we're doing everything the same. So we have, in fact, let's just copy these 3 for just those 4 items. So we'll get rid of that, paste over. This will be print list has items. It's going to be process list has items, and this will all be for the UI that needs to be bound. Print list is process list. So much for having the view model ready for the view. You can see no matter how much you plan the view model, you'll always end up probably coming back and correcting it based on what the requirements of the actual view are. Then we have a selected process list item. And this will be process list. This will be selected process list. This is selected process list here. And I believe that is all those. So we have now, oh, and this is wrong here. This is a process item view model. Let's check all the return types are correct. This one needs to be process item. So now we have the actual process list, which is a list of each item in there. We have whether there are any things in the list as to whether to show or hide the other part of the view. And then we have the actual selected item, which is based on finding it in the list by the ID. So with that, we now need to redo this command to make sure it's right. So now it's a process item view model, which makes more sense. We don't have to new up anything there. We have the ID, the is new, the job name. This can now be process list, and this can be selected. What was it? Selected ID is the new ID. So that's the method we need. We don't need a data model on this because this isn't something that is a data model, and so that extension isn't needed. So that's the slight change around. This is the kind of parent view with the commands to do things, and then it has a sub list of items. So we also need to make sure this now is bound in such a way that makes sense, because this uses a similar thing. It's bound to the top level. So we're still correct because this is the top level view, but now it is the top level view, so it's fine. When we get to an inner list, we'll have to make sure it's correct. So we have the button bound, add new process command. That should be finding it. Process page. Oh, hang on. Oh, I've been daft here. We have a process page view model already. And oh, we have it. Yeah, I'm being a complete idiot. Let's undo everything I've just said and done because we had it correct. So the process item view model, delete that. The process view model was already correct. So let's just undo back to I think pretty much the start. I think I've just done all that for no reason. So we don't need the selected, we don't need all the processes. We don't even need the new command, I'm guessing. It's going to be in there. So let's just undo this back to where we had those in, delete this. Yeah, so I didn't even look at the start what I was doing really. So that's back to how it was. We haven't made any changes to the process view model. We have the process page view model, which is what we wanted to bind to. So let's just fix that first, and then let's see if we did have all the commands. So that is the process page. I've even done it as well. I've bound to the correct thing, process page view model, and then opened the process view model. So that was an oversight. So we are bound to the correct thing already, but that should mean we have the add, and we don't have. So we do have to do what we did, but we do it in this place here. So we've got the fetch processes, but we don't have the add. So that's where we actually need the add command. So let's do that work again. In fact, if we're smart about this, I can probably undo the delete. There we go. Cut this out, get rid of that. And now go to the process page and paste it in here. That makes more sense. Now the add new process, this will be a process view model. And we have this, which will be new process. Now, do we have a process list? Yes, we do. So it was all there. It's just I was being a bit of an idiot and not even realizing we'd got the view models already, pretty much what we wanted to do. So now all we've had to add is this one command just to the right place. If we go back to here, we should now see, there we go, add new process command. That's what we wanted. So hopefully we don't have to do many view model changes. The item source is the process list. The ID is there. This is the selected process list. Was it ID? Yes. Selected process list ID. This we need a command for. So again, let's just take a look behind the scenes at what this did. So it would be an actions print view model. Why can't I find this? I'm not sure why that wasn't showing for me. It's in the code behind of the view file. So we want to copy this over exactly the same. We will want to go to the process page view model. So this, we can probably just space, press enter, it will make the method, and then just override it with the new one. So the point of this is when we're changing file, if we've got something in the added items, and the added items is of a certain type, we then focus a text box. So in this case, it's always going to be the type we want. So we can leave this in because we still need to cast. Otherwise, the added items is an object, it won't cast. But in our case, it's not going to be an action file info view model. The item inside the list is going to be a process view model. So this will be a process view model. And then if it's a new item, we select the value. So that's all the same logic now. We get the selection. And if we scroll down and take it line by line, because obviously we've just copy and pasted a print view, so everything's going to be related to the print. We don't want to miss anything. We should have now a list that populates with those items. The data template inside the list, so that will be this list here. Should be basically the same. We just need to bind to the correct item. So the data template is action print view model. This will be a process view model because obviously the item here is a process view model. The font weight is bold if it's not changed, which is still in there. We still have a job name. The parent list box we go up to, and instead of an actions page view model, it should be a process page view model. And then on that, we need delete process item, which I presume we will have based on the other options. No, delete process item. So we need to do the delete process item. For that, we will just go to here and go to delete print. And this will be the command, delete print item. So we'll just copy this over to our process page. So the only thing we didn't really do in the view model here, we fetched the processes, but we didn't do like the adding and deleting and things. So delete process item async. And I think this is why, in fact, I think this is probably why we said we didn't do this, because this is really repetitive code. So this is where we want to kind of clean up this. I don't know why it's not finding that list. This is where we wanted to clean up this because it's a lot of duplication. But for now, we'll ignore it and get the page running. And we do need to come back and make like some kind of class that adds all these default behaviors, the add, the delete, the update. Make it like a generic class. And then if that works, we need to delete process item from UI. So if we go back to here, we'd want to copy this function, paste it below, and this will be delete process item, and you can see why we need to do this, because this is just a whole bunch of copying and pasting. This is not the ideal thing where you just literally copying code logic over. There's something clearly wrong when you start doing this. The top of here, do we have a constructor database service? So it's just underscore database service for this one. And then this should hopefully have the delete process item. Yeah, so at least we have that. And it's expecting an ID. Yeah, so that method's in there at least. Delete process item is done, and we just need to finish this one. Select by ID or return, confirm, delete process item. Are you sure you want to delete process item? Underscore dialog. This is where we now need a main view model and a dialog service. So if we go to the top again, these are injected. So we can just go to here, and the same thing, main view model and dialog service. But in our process page, because we have the constructor, we've got to make use of the different way of adding them. So we need to add them in here, keep them in a similar order. There's the 3, and then we need to have them here as well. That's those injected, so now we can make use of them. This then, the constructor for the design time needs to new up the view models, new up the page factory, and I believe we've already done this somewhere, so let's just see what we did for, yeah, just new page factory, new dialog service, and then top level we just return null. That's all we did for that. So for design time, the dialog service won't pop up. New page factory. And what do we do for page factories when we new them up? Have we had to do that yet? So we haven't had to do a new page factory anywhere yet. Why do we have a page factory in here? New view model. So in the other one, we haven't even passed anything in. So that's the key difference. We literally don't even pass in a page factory, and we can do it without. So that is the design time one done. We have them injected. Scroll back down. And now we can make use of here, the main view model. We have the dialog service. This changes to process list. So does this one. So does this, and so does this. So you can see how much of a waste of time that is in one way. All these methods, the delete, the add, they're all basically complete copy and clones, and we have tons of them in here. So we definitely need to address that soon, because that's becoming more and more spread out in our code, and it's going to become something that becomes more of a headache to fix. So very next after this, we need to really look at simplifying this pattern of very common behavior. So this has got to be the last time we ignore that, but we've now got that done. We can have the command parameter as the ID. Visible doesn't change, so that's all good. That means we've done all of this panel here with real actions that link to the database. This will pull actual processes. And now we're onto this side. And if we look at the difference now, on this side, we want the process settings still, the name and description still. These checkboxes want to go, and we just need this list. So we can keep this little extra tab here. So instead of printer settings, we can say job list and then a description. We don't need the new button, because what we're going to have is this item on this side, so all the drawings can go. But then we will want to have the list still exist. But the list will be a drag and drop from this side, or a select item and click to send over. I'm kind of liking the drag and drop, but we might do the click and send over first, and then do the drag and drop as its own separate thing. So that's probably what we'll do. So where we're at now is we want to delete the drawing side and change it to, well, not delete it, just change it to available actions. So let's go from the outside in. So that will be, or in fact, let's now just work through normal. Let's just work through from this way out. So where it's general settings, we want process settings. So we'll go into this one. We're up to the stack panel now, and this is actually the overlay. So you can see we've got print list has items. This is process list has items, and this is the little overlay when we have none. We have the transition, and then here we go. Print actions can be used too. So now we need a description here. And processes can be used to run a set of actions on a set of files. That's basically the point of them. To get started, create a new process. This wants to be a new process, and that's just basically that pop-up in the center when you're missing items. If we click it, we still want that add new process command, so it's the exact same command. Now we get to print list has items. So again, process list has items. This is another visibility check, and this is now the main section. So the general settings column, which is actually now the process settings column. So it's still really general settings, to be honest. We can keep it called that because it is general settings. Set the main properties of the process job, or of the process. Job name, text box, selected print item list. So this just wants to be selected print process list for the job name and description. Nothing changes there. Now we have a stack panel with the 2 checkboxes. So this is what we want to get rid of. And it has a print thing here. So let's just see what that was. I think I'll close the view. Actions print view. What is that? A label that says print. Oh, it's that label there. So we definitely don't want that label. That means the grid also here has extra rows. So this has now 0, 1, and 2. So we have this extra 2 rows we can delete. Won't harm them being in there, but they're not needed. After that, we go to printer settings. So this is process settings. Selects the profiles used for the paper sizes. So this will be here, this list. So instead of printer settings, select the profiles. This will be more of a job list. So this is the, well, we're calling it a job list. Yeah, it is the job. It's a process job. So really, it's a list of actions that are going to be run. So I might want to call it the action list. I think I will. We'll call it the action list. Selects the actions to be used in this process. This will be new print settings. That's a button. We don't need that button. That's the new button. Now we get to the list. This is the list of actions. So let's make sure we do this right. This has printer settings. We should have actions, and we don't. So process page view model. Let's take a look. We must have something. So we have the process list as a list of processes, but then inside each process we have the action. And we know we have it because we've seen it. It's this list of actions we want here. So something's wrong with the binding there. So item source, is that why? Item source was printer settings. In this case, item source wants to be the processes. Process list, there we go. So we now got a list of the processes. We bind to the ID, and the value wants to be, and this is where, because we're still bound to the top level, the selected value wants to bind up to the selected process list ID. Now inside this, it should be very simple again, and this is just going to be a list of actions in order. So the order of this list matters, but so long as we do something to sort that order, we might want an ID to keep the order, or if we commit them to database and pull them back in and out, we'll see if it pulls the order the same. I'm pretty sure we're going to need something to organize that later, so we don't lose the order of that list, because the order of the job list is crucial. It's when it wants to run. I'm just thinking, do we want this to be a tree view or not? I don't think we do. This is just, this side will want to be a tree view, but the job list doesn't. This is just a list of items. So we're okay with the list. It's just that we might as well add this now because I know it's going to be needed. This item will need an order. So we can have a private int sort order, I guess. And that will be an observable property. Has changed. Is it really changed? I guess it has changed if it's, yeah, it has changed if it's moved order. So that can stay on. And then in here, we'll need to make sure we do the sort. Why is that not showing? To data model. Oh, we've got to add it to the process data model as well. So we'll want a public int sort order. Get set. I don't think there's anything else to specify on that. Sort order can now be sort order. That passes through. And then here, the same way the other way. So that keeps that new property in. And then what we can do when we come to save the changes, at that point, we'll just look at this view and find out what order it's in. and then set the sort order then. We could try and bind something to the view here, but I'm not even sure if there's any kind of index. So you've got selected index and things. So I think it's easier just to let the visual list be sorted before we populate it. So we make sure this list is in order. When we fetch the list, we'll order it. So let's just see where we fetch that list, because that will be, we might as well do it now. So we'll probably want the process page view model, and it will be get processes. So this is where the fetch processes command, I believe we saw here. So we get it from the database, we pull the info, we're ordering by job name, you see here. So this is where the process view model does not want to be ordered by that. It wants to be ordered, oh, hang on, we're doing something wrong here. It's not the process list, it's the actions inside the process. So this is the process list. We've already done the process list. So yeah, we're getting confused here. We've got the process list here. This is an item inside the process list. So we're binding to the wrong thing. This is the selected process item, question mark, or let's just do dot, because if it fails, it fails. This wants to be actions. That's where we're going wrong. The selected value, to that we're going to need this is getting a bit complicated because this is now 2 levels deep of a list. So for this, I don't know whether we need to keep track of the selected item here, because the only thing we're going to do on that is if we selected an item in this list, we'll have probably the delete button. That's the only function of it. So whether we need to have it bound to a property, I don't think we do. So if we delete that, this list will be the selected items actions, which is now correct. Inside of the template, it's now going to be the action view model. So this will be an action view model. And then in here, we now have name. So that doesn't have a name, apparently. Really? We didn't put a name. Is it going to be job name? Yeah, job name in there. Description is do we really want the description underneath? We'll see. That might be too long, but we'll see about that. In fact, that is probably going to be too long. We might want to change that to just a tooltip, because I'm just trying to think. We'll see what happens, but I've got a feeling that's going to be, like I say, too long for the list. Yeah, we definitely don't want that. I already know we don't want that. So let's just change this from being a text box, in which case we don't need a stack panel, we just need a label. And this will have now the content as this, and the tool tip.tip equals that. And then this is where we've got can edit. We don't have a can edit. We just have a can, like we're just gonna have a delete button. So we'll delete the whole can edit thing. The delete now, we can always delete. So is visible, can delete. So we don't really need a panel either, because we're not hiding multiple levels. But let's just leave the panel in and just make it visible for now to save messing up the order. This is also star for this, 10, and then auto. So that wants to be column 2, and then there's no other column, so that extra column can go. We've only got 1 button, not 2. The delete then now goes up to the parent, which is saying it's an action page view model, which the list box up here will be bound to the process page view model. So that's process page view model. And then in here, this is where we will need a new command, I'm pretty sure, because we're bubbling back up to the top level, but it wants to use the selected process items list to remove actions from it. So that's something we've never done before yet, that kind of double bubble up and back down. So we're definitely not going to have delete process item, because it's not a process item. It's going to be delete process item action, or delete process action item. Or does it make more sense to say delete selected process action items? That's a big name, but that's technically what we're doing. We'll go to now the process page. This will be a definite new command. And what we can do is we can put this function inside. This can just be like a bubble function to pass it to the correct place. And we shouldn't need, we will need the selected item, but just for here. So command prompt is ID. So the ID of the action view model is fine. The only thing this is going to limit us to is did we put the sort order on that? Or have I put the sort on the wrong one? I've also put the sort on the wrong place, because it's the actions that need sorting. So we put that on here. Sort order needs to go, and we need to move that to the action view model. This is the place that needs the sort order. And then the data model will also need the sort order, and we'll take that away from the process view model, process data model. Getting confused between the two view models. So there we go, sort order's in the right place now. Make sure we add it here, and make sure we add it here. Where were we before we were doing this? So this now wants to be an int, I think, sort order. And what I was thinking, I wasn't really fully verbalizing that then, is we might want the exact same command to, or the exact same action to be run twice in a job, like twice in the process. So say you want to set a custom property and then do something else, then set the custom property again for whatever reason. If we were to pass in the ID here, you've only ever got one action, not necessarily, because the ID here, this ID isn't related to the action view model. It's a shared ID of the real view model. So the sort order can be used because it also really almost wants to be an ID, which we might make it an ID because then it's unique and you can't have multiple IDs. But either way, we want to pass in the sort order as the item we want to remove. And then in here now, we can find that item. But the first thing we want to do is, let's see if we have the checks. So similar checks to this. If this IntelliSense just doesn't want to work. We have literally no IntelliSense at all on this. The selected process item. So basically if this is null, so probably didn't even need to copy and paste this, it's pretty much completely different. So if it's null for whatever reason, which shouldn't be possible, we just return so we can be assured we've got it. And now from here, we could just literally call, we can pass this logic into the view. So we can just say the selected process list item, which is, if we hover over a process view model, we can have the action in here because it really should be responsible for removing its own action. So we can say delete action and then pass in the sort order. Well, that's just removed everything I've typed. Delete action. There we go. And then cut that out. Generate that function. This will be a task. And that's that. In here, we want to do something. So the only thing with passing in the responsibility to this view model actually is then this has to have dependency injection. So let's actually scrap that idea. Even though we could put it inside, let's just keep it here. So we want to now perform the logic on the selected item in here. So that will mean the selected process item dot actions, and this should never be at anything different. So we can do dot select. There should only be one. Sort order equals sort order. Var item equals that. And we can then say selected process list item dot actions dot remove and the item. And what you can do is just do a double check if item, actually that wants to be first or default. If item isn't equal to null, so we found it, remove it. And then at that point, do we want to save to the database? So that's the question. If we're deleting from the list, it's whether we have the save and close boxes we're editing. So I think we do. So at this point, we won't edit anything. We'll just remove the item. So I think that should work. We don't need async there. We're not awaiting anything. That's going to be task.completed task. We probably don't even need an async, to be honest, at all. So let's just get rid of async, void, and just return. So now we have a delete selected process action item, or we don't even need the word item at the end. It is an action. So delete selected process action is fine. And that should be a command. We forgot to put the relay command on top. And now it can be accessed there. So that was something we'd obviously overlooked as well. That should be able to find the item by the sort and delete it when we click it. And then the is visible is bound to the selected. So that's why we don't need the binding up here now to the selected value, because it's got no relevance for us. And then that's the end of that column. And then now the drawings column is going to be the available actions column. So this is the available actions column. And where it says drawings, we'll have available actions. This will be drag and drop. To be honest, I don't know whether just to do drag and drop. Is there any point in having a click button? Do we just go for drag and drop only? Or do we have a button? Or do we even want to drag and drop? I don't know. We'll see. So I just say, select the actions you would like to add to the process and click add or drag. We'll write in or drag and drop onto the list. And then if we decide to not implement that, we'll obviously scrap that. Print range, actually, we don't know what it looks like. So print range, we can just get rid of. Blacklist, we can get rid of. So for now, let's just clear off whatever's in that view. That's for another time. So we don't need the grid. Yeah, we don't need that. Stack panel is a transition for save and delete. So we do want the stack panel. We just don't want this grid here. So let's get rid of that grid. This stack panel is the save and cancel button, which we need. This is selected print list item has changed. So if something's changed, we show it ready for saving. And then we have the cancel print item command. So do we have cancel? No. So this is another thing we don't have. Cancel print item command, save print item command. So we'll go to here, cancel print item, and then we've probably got save. And again, this is because it will be the whole copy and paste issue we need to fix. We'll go to actions page, paste it in here, cancel process item, selected process item, delete process item, that was from UI async. There you go. So you can see literally all we've had to do again is rename properties. This is why we definitely need to sort that. And then we had one other, which was, I forget, save print items. This will be process. This will be save process. So we need to find the save print. Oh, this one, save print item async. So this is the one we want to copy. Go to here. Do the exact same again. Everywhere we see the save print or selected print, will change to selected process. Add print, add process. So a lot of the work we did has helped because we've got tons of functions and methods all over the place that would be really splitting this work down. So I think we've done it right by doing, all the work we can in the view model, even though we've had to do some still. There's a lot of work we haven't had to do. Like all these functions and methods that we did in advance have really helped us out here. And then you can focus on, as you're changing them, making sure the things you're changing are correct instead of bouncing around even more. So I definitely think that way around has worked good. So now we have the save and close. So I think let's see what happens when we go to build. Sure, we'll probably get an error. We normally no error. So what we're expected to see at the minute is just the ability to create a blank process because we don't have any way to add the actions and we haven't populated the actions list. But now the process page should show. That's wrong already. We have no border. So we've missed something on the top. We also need to delete the database because we don't have that sort order. So you know how to delete the database by now. We just browse for the folder. We go to the, actually, did I change it to, I think I changed it recently to documents so it was easier to find. Batch process, and we have the database here. So we kill the rider, we delete the settings, and we reopen rider. And now with that reopen, let's just run it again. And that was because the sort order, I'm not sure why, to be honest, the sort order crashed in the actions page. That's slightly strange. Maybe it's because it was fetching from the database. But either way, processes is wrong on the padding at the minute. And that's because we copied a page from in here that doesn't need padding, but our outer page does. So let's just add the same padding that the settings has here. In fact, actually, we've done it wrong because if you notice all the other pages, we have the header. The processes, we don't have a header. So we need to copy the header and add that to the view as well. So that will be in the actions page view model. We need to do a bit of a hybrid. So we have the grid here with a header And then inside the header, we have the padding. And then finally inside that is our control. So we need to put this in over the top of our current process page, and then everything else should be the same. So we go here, paste this in. We have a grid with a column and a border and a padding. This main grid then for everything stays exactly the same, just tabs one more in. And this becomes inside the border. This becomes inside the grid. And I think that should be right. And then now we need a background. We'll leave the background as the actions. I don't think we've got any other yet. If we go to assets, images, background, actions, and settings. So I'll make another one of those and change that after. That's no mean feat. This will be processes, creates and manages all actions to be used. So this will be creates and manages all processes that can be used in a job, I guess it is. I'm not really sure what we're going to call the top level, because basically the home page is going to be the top level, and you're just executing processes on available SolidWorks files. So we'll call it a job for now, and then I think that is it. So let's run that again. We should now have the header and the padding that looks the same as the other pages. Yes, I want to say. Yeah, that looks the same. We've now got the header. We've got this in here. We have the new process button. Processes can be used to blah, blah, blah. That's the same. So let's try clicking this button. Cancel. This button. So that's good. New process 1. Description 1. Save. Tab in, tab out. And look at that. All working good. And that's because obviously all this is copy and pasted code from the known working stuff. So there's the processes page, all linked in and done. What we now need is, I think we need to do this available actions next, because that needs a wrap actually as well. Available actions. Let's just fix that text not wrapping. Available actions. So this wants to be text wrapping, wrap. Yeah, we need to probably fill in the right side list in order to be able to add to the other list. So the other list is here, ready to go, and we presume the code's working, that you can, click and delete and stuff like that. But until we've got this list on the right, we have no way to fill this list. So the smart thing to do would be to now do this right side list, which needs to host every one of these. So all the print actions, the custom properties, files, models, blah, 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 all these need to be in this available actions. So we can either do I don't know whether to do a tree view, because it's kind of pointless, to be honest, doing a tree view, because all the tree view is going to be is this set of 7 or 8 expandable and collapsible items, and then the items inside. But I almost just want to see them as a list of actions with maybe an icon for what type they are. So like a print icon, a custom properties, a file info, a different icon for each of these, and order them so that it's either ordered alphabetically, which probably makes more sense based on the actions, instead of grouped into what type they are, or we could sort it by, type. We could even have an available option for sorting. So even though I thought we were going to do a tree view here, I'll have a think, but I think we'll just do more of a smart list like this with custom icons at the front, and maybe sort modes or filter modes to filter out. That's probably what we want to do. We possibly want a few checkboxes up here, or a smart way to filter which actions we want to show in case we don't want to show them all, or we just dump them all in the list and let the user scroll through and simply sort by either name or type, or both. So probably sort alphabetically makes sense. It's the most logical thing to do. Maybe just a single button that groups them based on actions first. So I think that's actually the best option. So we want a little group button, probably, to group actions. If you uncheck it, it's one big list. If you check it, it's then grouped into these categories first and then alphabetical. So that makes a lot more sense. So that's it for this one, guys. I hope you liked it, and I should be back fairly regular doing these now, and you should get several videos a week. So we should progress through this really fast.